Welcome to Awesome Comics, your one-stop shop for everything comic book entertainment related. I'm your host, Heather Roos, today, and today we are talking about Henry Cavill Superman. Is he a good Superman? Is he not? Does he suck? We'll see. We have some hot debates to go on. We have some hot debating to do today. But before we get into that, don't forget to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/awesomecomicshow. We put up new content there every Thursday, sometimes more. We had a continued discussion from our last Lego Batman movie discussion that went up there on Thursday. It was fun. There were lots of random Legos on my earrings and firing of Lego pieces at other people. So check that out if you haven't already. On the panel today, we have someone new.
Oh,
hey.
Porter.
No, this is Jake. Say hello.
Hello.
How you doing? You excited to be on the show?
I'm very excited. I've been a big fan for a long time, and it's cool to get into the nitty-gritty, and I'm ready to do some classic Awesome Comics arguing.
Yes, fighting. No fists will be thrown today. Maybe. I don't know, but
maybe just eye beams. It's fine.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we have Porter.
What's up?
How
Not
you
new.
doing? Yeah.
Been around for a while.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You were off gallivanting around Florida, right?
Yeah. Harry Potter, Wizarding World, Disney World, all that stuff's great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It really is a happy place.
Well, good. I'm glad that you can spread the joy.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so we have three main topics that we're going to focus on. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
The first thing we're going to talk about is probably one of the biggest issues people have with him is the tone and the attitude that he has.
Yeah.
You know, the dark, gritty nature, so to speak.
Brooding.
Yes, brooding.
Sure.
I like that you put that in parentheses.
It's brooding, yeah.
Or quotation marks. I swear, I teach English. So let's throw it to you first, Jake.
Oh, okay.
So the tone, attitude, how do you feel about it?
I don't mind it. I know that it's gotten a lot of flack, especially BVS, for how dark it's gotten and how somber he is, and he doesn't seem to really smile much, which, I mean, I'll agree with that point. But no, it doesn't bother me much because, I don't know, for a long time, we had the same Superman in terms of our media in the movies and then the animated series in the 90s. He was always very much the big blue Boy Scout, and he very much has his rigid moral compass, and it gets kind of boring when you don't really give much dramatic tension to his decision making and things along that line. So I really appreciated, especially in Man of Steel, that we were getting some shades to his character. And I think that I don't think it's so much brooding like Batman brooding as it is that they were just kind of shading his character. I like that they made him more of he felt out of place in the world because he doesn't know why he's different. He knows he's different, he doesn't know why. His parents are more afraid of letting his powers out, which leads to him being a little more reserved. So I like that there's this more of like a coming of age vibe to especially like the first half of Man of Steel as he starts to realize that I should be able to share these powers. And I think that it lends to him being conflicted and complicated, but not necessarily, like I don't think he's dark and like a depressed character like Batman can be. I think he's feels the weight of the world on his shoulders once he realizes that he has the power to shape the world if he wishes. So I appreciate it. I know that a lot of people have issues with especially the second half of Man of Steel, with all the destruction that he's part of, and that's so anti the classic. He should be flying around saving everybody. And it's anti the classic depiction of Superman to have him being so involved in this fight that he's just trying to survive it and not necessarily save everybody. So I appreciate some of the shades to his character. So the tone doesn't bother me. I think it's more interesting than just this. He's always doing good. He's this beacon of
Hope.
Of hope. And well, It's not an S. But I think that it lends to, not necessarily they've taken great advantage of it, but it lends itself to more storytelling opportunities than if you just did something like Superman Returns, which is just a rehash of stuff that we've seen for the past 40 years.
Okay, yeah, adding a new dimension to an old character.
Exactly, yeah.
Bringing some fresh breath into it.
We could show his emo teenage years in every single movie now. It's great.
Right.
I can't wait.
Right.
I feel like you said like having the weight of his the world on his shoulders and discovering his powers and whatnot. Yeah, that's fine. Have him grapple with his huge responsibility and whether or not he needs to handle that. But I feel like it's him buckling a little under that weight, and he's Superman. He can handle the weight of the world literally on his shoulders. So mentally, I think he should be able to handle it a little more. And I think also, you said, oh, we've seen that a lot and this and that. That's kind of because it's the core of his character. At the heart of Superman, he is the Boy Scout. He is the beacon of hope, and he always does the right thing. And there's been so many descriptions and whether situations of whether or not he is going to do the right thing, and it's tested him time and time again, and he always does the right thing. Superman versus the Elite, that's a great movie that describes on what he should and shouldn't do, and we get to see a little bit of the depth of his character in that.
Sure.
But he still comes around to the light, so to speak, and I feel like part of that's from his upbringing, Ma and Pa Kent. Should I have just let those people drown? I don't know, maybe. Pa Kent would have never said that.
Right, save the kids.
So
Save
I
the
feel
kids.
like part of the reason why he's so broody and kind of doesn't know exactly what he's doing is because the upbringing in this is a lot different. And I feel, Mom and Pa Kent were always scared for their son, but they knew, I'm scared, but he needs to be this beacon of hope. He needs to help the people and use his powers. And I feel like that's very lacking in Man of Steel, and it just transfers to his character, and he's just kind of doesn't know where he fits in. Should I or shouldn't I? It's always should be, yes, I should, because I've got these powers and it's my responsibility.
Sure.
Okay.
And he just, this brooding, emo, I don't know what I should do, I'm whiny, blah, blah, blah. It's just this doesn't fit this character at all. We show depth of character and show him grappling with stuff, but at the end of it, have him bring forth the light that he always is.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's, very sure of himself. So, and I feel like him flying around, not saving people and this and that, doing the battle, it's okay, yeah, he's new. In Earth 1, he had some trouble with, what he was doing and saving people and all that stuff too. But he should have at least made an attempt. Because he really didn't. It was just building smash, flying through a building, tossing this, doing that. Bad guy, punch.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go save that random person. Not really, though. He just didn't really try to save anybody. I think he might have mentioned, we should probably get this out of the city. But no, we wound up back in the city just pulverizing shit.
Right.
Yeah, so overall, you just felt like the
It
core of the character wasn't
didn't seem
there
like
anymore.
he cared. He did not care about it as much, and that's ridiculous for Superman.
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
Some of the Man of Steel is such a compressed timeline of a movie in terms of from when he gets on the ship and he gets the costume to the fight of Zod has got to be a matter of 2 days, maybe 3 days. So it's the first time that he's worn this costume and this symbol. It's the first time that he's fought anything that could actually put up a fight with him.
But it's not the first time he saved people.
No.
He grew up saving people.
Yeah.
Saving the kids in the bus. He saved the oil tanker or the oil drill people or whatever. He did all that stuff.
Yeah.
He knows he needs to use his powers to save people. And yes, he was trying to save them by, not making sure the world doesn't blow up, and we appreciate that. But also, try not to drop a building on a bunch of people.
Sure. I mean,
There's
I don't
a
think
learning
that
curve.
he's not the only crazy superpowered person in that fight. I think that there's a lot of collateral damage, but it's a lot of he's trying to survive second to second against an enemy he doesn't think he can defeat, and he's caught up in the moment,
Right.
and
It's more of a fight or flight instinct.
Yeah,
He's got to keep fighting because he needs to stay alive.
I mean,
It's
if you
the
had
instinct.
2 people with the power of Superman fighting each other in the middle of a downtown city, you're gonna have some shit fall down.
Casualties.
Yeah. But I don't think that he's emo in the beginning. I think that he's pretty much a normal teenager who feels like he doesn't fit in like most do, except that he has these superpowers, so it's an extra layer on top of it. But I don't think he's excessively emo. I think he's...
This is more towards the middle when he's actually an adult.
Sure. I like the idea of that he seems to have been traveling the world, like secretly helping out people and kind of getting the hang of what he can do. And I think Man of Steel, especially, is more of the beginning of him becoming the Superman that we know and love. I feel like what makes Superman relatable when the storytelling is done well is that a lot of people like to write him or portray him as this like alien on Earth, that he's separated from everybody, he's above everybody, he feels this distance. And I like when there's a dichotomy between that and the fact that he's a normal American kid that grew up on a farm in the Midwest.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a normal earthling human being who finds out that he's an alien and has these powers. And I like that Man of Steel seemed to do a better job of saying like, this is a guy who grew up here who now has to deal with all of this, as opposed to just this godly savior from above, space Jesus.
Space Jesus. All right, well.
It's what he is. Right?
Occasionally, yeah. So everyone knows that Superman is not just the only person who's part of this character. We also have Clark Kent, who's a part of this character. So how do you feel about Henry Cavill's portrayal of Clark Kent? Let's throw it to Porter first.
Well, for the 10 minutes that we saw Clark Kent, he was probably not bad. I mean, he was still a little kind of like, Batman sucks. He shouldn't kill, even though I kill. Yeah. But, we barely got to see any. We didn't see any of like Clark Kent as we know him in Man of Steel until the very end. That was the tag of the freaking movie. It's, oh, hi, I'm Clark Kent. Cut. Oh, okay, we don't get any. Okay, cool. And then, Man of Steel. Well, it was a 3-hour movie. We had to cut out Batman vs. Superman. It's a 3-hour movie. You have the 3.5-hour cut. You actually show a little bit more of Clark Kent actually being a reporter instead of just going, I don't like Batman.
Right.
And that's it. It's basically what his involvement was in the theatrical cut. And we barely saw any bit of him. And from what we did see, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't really the bumbling, fumbling, lovable fool or anything that we know and love. He was just kind of like a guy that has glasses and might be a reporter sometimes.
Which I actually appreciated. I think it was a little more realistic to have him not be such like an over-the-top, like bumbling nerd, and that he's just like a normal guy at your office, because you're not going to suspect. The whole thing is you're not going to suspect that a normal guy at an office would ever be Superman, because why would Superman ever work in a newspaper when he could just fly around the world all day? Why would he ever live a normal life? You're not expecting him to have a secret identity. So the fact that he's more of just kind of like a normal guy, I think works better, because it gets a little too much when it's like, look at this bumbling nerd. This guy could never be Superman. It's like, well, nobody could be Superman. You shouldn't expect anybody around you to be Superman, not just the nerd guy because he's too nerdy to pull it off. So I appreciated that it was more toned down and that he was just kind of a regular guy. It wasn't so different from who he is as Superman to make it feel like he's always constantly acting, which I think can get a little old when he's constantly doing this shtick of like, oh, Lois, So I appreciate that it wasn't as, although like, I agree with you actually that like we don't get enough of it so far. And part of that is that Man of Steel was the first movie of this extended universe, and Man of Steel, we keep both doing the same thing, so calling both movies Man of Steel. And Batman, Superman, that's still the beginning of this. I'm hoping, once Superman returns, spoiler alert, Superman's going to return in Justice League, guys. He's not dead. Superman doesn't stay dead, guys. Come on. When Superman comes back, that he's going to be much closer to our classic version of Superman because of the things that have happened to him already.
Could be.
That he's going to come back and be a brighter, maybe he'll smile, guys. He might smile now. Be a brighter character.
I just feel like him... being, not as bumbling or whatever, it feels like he's too close to Superman. And so he's all up Perry's ass about, the Batman, and we need to do it. And it's like, the bad guy, and this and that. And he's just all like, yeah, we need to save it. We need to, like, do this story and make sure that people know that Batman's bad, blah, 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 because, I'm a champion of good. And it's like, wait. Take the glasses off just a little bit.
No one wants to see Clark Kent taking on the Batman, but Superman, that could be a movie.
We could have a whole 3-hour
It's just like there wasn't enough of a separation from Superman for me.
Okay.
And it feels like if anybody, obviously Lois was just like, hey, aren't you Superman?
Right away, yeah.
Yeah, like
Well, she's a good reporter. She went.
She's apparently a genius, even more than
she's
like
a detective.
Lex. She's just
Well,
the smartest
Lex
person
figured it
on.
out too, though, pretty quick, didn't he?
Not as quick as Lois
Not as
Lane,
quick as Lois
the
Lane.
journalist.
Showed up at
you
his.
know.
Did she show up at his house, right, or at the cemetery? In
Yeah.
Mansfield? She like shows up at his hometown, just like you.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
Figured it
Flying
out.
around doing stuff.
If Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Lois Lane can figure it out, I feel like we need a little bit more of a separation from Superman.
Sure.
'Cause, she's not exactly a brain trust up there. So.
Despite the fact that she's Pulitzer Prize winning, whatever.
World famous
All right, maybe
journalist
it's time
going
to
into global hotspots with the CIA.
maybe it's time to move on
Quite
to
the
our
Mary
next
Sue
topic
that
then.
one. Right?
All right, so our last thing that we're going to kind of tackle here is what we'll call the ethics, I guess, of Superman, Henry Cavill's Superman. Basically, should he have killed Zod? Is it really part of the Superman character to do something like that? We'll toss it over to Jake first.
Well, I mean, he's killed people in the comics before. Mostly not just run-of-the-mill people, usually some kind of incredibly powerful enemy and there's no other option. And it's not like he's said, I can never take a life. If it's an extreme situation, he's been known to do it. But specifically for Man of Steel, I think plot-wise it works in the scenario that's happening in terms of Zod's going to kill this family, which I don't get why he starts looking at them over here and then traces his vision towards them. Just look at them first, and then you just vaporize them. But he's trying to kill this family, and Superman's got to stop that from happening. And he's seen all this destruction happen in this fight that he's had, and the world engine has almost killed the planet. So he knows if I don't stop him, Zod will never stop himself. He's genetically bred to do this. He wants to save our civilization, even if he's going about it the wrong way. But he will not stop. And I think Superman has that realization as he's in that moment of like, I have the power to end this, and it's my responsibility to the planet to do so. And I feel thematically, it's why I like the moment, is thematically I like the idea that he's the last son of Krypton because of his own actions. That he has the opportunity to bring back some semblance of his home, his planet. And there's at least someone else with that connection, so he's not alone in the world in that moment when Zod and his forces are there. He's not alone in the world anymore, and he's not alone in the universe, even though they're on the other side of him. So when he decides that he has to take Zod's life, and in doing so is dooming himself to being the last son of Krypton, I think that's an interesting storytelling thing. I don't know if perhaps they took enough advantage of that moving forward. I hope maybe if they move forward with this Superman sequel that they're talking about, that George Miller's getting rumored to do, which would be awesome, that maybe they can play up that more, because they didn't really follow up on that much in Batman Superman. But I do like the idea that he's the last son of Krypton because of his own actions, and I think that's interesting. So I think that's not something that we get a lot in other portrayals of Superman. So I don't mind it. I think plot-wise, he had the reasons to do it, and I think thematically it works really well. So
Cool.
Thematically, I mean, as far as the story goes, I can see how that would work. But Superman, I mean, yes, he has killed in the comics, but he makes it a point to never kill as often as possible.
Sure.
And I feel like in that instance, so he's got Zod in this headlock thing. And,
Let's break it down.
And Zod's still turning his head, and he's apparently not able to stop his head from turning. He's Superman who can fly. His powers haven't been taken away or anything. There is no red sun. Jump. Just jump.
maybe Zod's jumping down at that moment. You just can't see, but he's like pushing himself down with his.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. So just jump, maybe.
You know how those
Or-
rocks float? They're floating down around him.
Yeah, nope.
Nope. Laura's going to strongly disagree with you on that one.
Jump, fall to the side. I don't know. Punch him in the head a few times. Freeze breath his face. Anything.
But what do you do after that? What's the solution once? Even if you've like knocked him out, where do you put Zod?
To the Phantom Zone.
Phantom Zone. Throw him in space. Throw him to the moon. Whatever. Something.
He'll come back.
Make a prison. I don't know. Don't kill him. You don't kill people. Superman does not kill as often as possible. I feel like this was a situation where he totally could have done a bunch of other things to at least save that family and then just figure it out as he's going along. Something. Throw him at the machine thing. I don't know. Didn't those spaceships have like warp drive capabilities? Throw him back on the spaceship and warp drive it out of here. Like something.
Well, they crashed into
Anything
the city.
besides just casually breaking his neck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, I got him here anyway.
Yeah, he screams because he's sad because he's killing someone he could be whatever. But it's like, no, you could have done so many different things. And I feel like how dark his character is portrayed, Papa can't say, maybe you shouldn't have saved him. He snaps his neck. He's super brooding. It's like this Superman is like nowhere near the Superman that we've ever really seen. Oh, we need to have him be more realistic. Sure, have him be more realistic, but stay true to the character. We got 75 plus years of lore of him being this beacon of hope and not killing as often as possible. And I feel like this situation did not warrant the death of Zod.
Sure.
And it just didn't work with that character, and that character's completely far off from what we're supposed to be seeing in Superman.
So it was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for you in the case of, well, this is not the Superman that I know and love, so
Superman's supposed to make you feel good. Any other Superman movie you walk out of, you're supposed to feel happy and this and that. You feel like, there was a happy ending or whatever. I walked out of Man of Steel like, what did I just see? Superman killed someone?
Confused.
What is happening? Like,
Lost.
I was not at all happy, like, at all.
Yeah.
See, and I was excited because I like that it was, the first 3 days of him being Superman, and that there's all these things happening to him that will inform him. He's got a long road to go. They're starting this whole extended universe. I like that there's room for character growth for him to become the Superman we want him to be based on what happens in the movies so far. And we'll see. Maybe once he comes back from the dead, he will come back in a black outfit with a mullet and machine guns like in the comics. But I'm hoping not. I'm hoping he comes back, and because he was forced to kill Zod and make himself the last survivor of his planet, and maybe that's going to would you feel better if going forward in the movies they addressed it and were like, because of what he did, now he never will kill again?
Yeah, but I feel like he never should have gotten to that point.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like Superman always starts off with the code of, I'm never going to kill. It doesn't have to take a time, oh, I killed someone. I really didn't like that. I'm not going to do it again. I feel like that's
But that's how you develop a code. No one really
you could develop a code
starts a thing and is like, this is 100% how I'm living the rest of my life.
I'm pretty
You're
sure
informed by what
not
happens
murdering
to you.
someone is something you get pretty early on.
Well,
But I think
maybe Pa Kent,
oh, I have to
said
save
that.
the entire planet from this crazy superpowered maniac that's going to kill everybody if I don't is, a positive.
Right. I mean, I'm sure we could sit here and debate this all day, guys, but unfortunately we got to wrap it up. Some very good points were made. Thank you very much. What do you guys think? I'm actually split. That's why I'm here in the chair.
Doesn't
because
suck.
I'm pretty well split.
Suck. Question is,
about
sucks?
whether or
It
not
doesn't suck.
he's a good
Sucks.
Henry Cavill is a good Superman or not. So let us know in the comments. Is he a good Superman? Is he a bad Superman? Is it in the middle like me? I don't know.
One thing I
Maybe
will
good
say
things,
before we
bad
go,
things.
he looks good as Superman. I feel like he
Yes.
has the potential to be the Superman that we want, but it's just
Well,
not there.
I don't
it's
think
just-
Henry Cavill himself has been given good enough material to really shine as Superman yet. If you see the pictures of him when he goes to visits like charities and things, and he's with children, and you see him in that costume,
He's bright,
and he's
vibrant.
with children, and he has that smile on his face, and they even give him the spit curl, and like that's Superman. He looks like Superman, and that's why I'm hoping that like.
If Henry Cavill can do that out of the
Right.
studio, I mean,
Right.
it's kind of like,
And I'm hoping now that they seem to be wanting to course correct, because everyone was like, BVS is so dark, and they're like, okay, Justice League's gonna be happy, guys. Like, we promise. We only had like a month to
Please
rework
watch
it after
it.
we found out about how much you hated Batman and Superman, but it's gonna be fun. That maybe we're gonna get more of that kind
Yeah.
of Superman.
All right.
So I think, I think
just-
we'll see. I think it's a
right.
wait and see.
Death will
We'll have
stick
to
to
wait
his
and see.
personality, I guess.
He'll rise again. We'll have to
Mullet
wait
and all.
see.
Yeah.
He'll
Super
rise again as
mullet.
The
Space
mullet
Jesus.
of happiness.
We'll just have to wait and see. All right, guys. Porter, where can people find you on social medias?
Facebook.com/AwesomePorter, Twitter, PorkChop0289.
Great. And Jake, where can people find you on social media if they want to continue the discussion?
I'm on Twitter at AJ Lang, because I didn't want to put the Jake Lang, because I thought that was cocky. So there's others in the world, so I said I'm a Jake Lang. So you can find me at Jake Lang. Lange is how you spell my last name. I'm also on Instagram somewhere. You'll have to find me.
You don't even know.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, Twitter. Twitter's usually the best way to get a hold of me. So.
Awesome, great. And you can find me on Twitter at Heather Roos or on Instagram at HRoos. And don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/awesomecomicshow. And we'll definitely continue the discussion with you guys there. But until next time, we'll see you on the next page.